Good morning, everyone. My name, for those who don't know me, is Fr Paul. I'm the Parish Priest here at St Agnes Catholic Parish, Port Macquarie. And I'm producing these little videos each day, hopefully, so that you can join with me as a parish, as a community, in spiritual communion during these times when we're unable to meet face to face. What I hope to do with these little reflections is just offer you the gospel of the day and then some reflections after that on that gospel for us to think about and pray about as our day continues. So I'm hoping that this little contribution will be able to be used by you and others and help us during this time of need. So we'll begin with today's gospel. Today is Tuesday, the fourth week of Lent. And the gospel is from the Gospel according to John. There was a Jewish festival, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now at the sheep pool in Jerusalem, there is a building called Bethesda, in Hebrew, consisting of 5 porticos. And under these were crowds of sick people, blind, lame, paralyzed. One man there had an illness which had lasted 38 years. And when Jesus saw him lying there and knew he had been in this condition for a long time, he said, "Do you want to be well again?" "Sir," replied the sick man, "I have no one to put me into the pool when the water is disturbed. And while I am still on the way, someone else gets there before me." Jesus said, "Get up, pick up your sleeping mat and walk." The man was cured at once, and he picked up his mat and walked away. Now that day happened to be the Sabbath, so the Jews said to the man who had been cured, "It is the Sabbath. You are not allowed to carry your sleeping mat." He replied, "But the man who cured me told me, 'Pick up your mat and walk.'" They asked, "Who is the man that said to you, 'Pick up your mat and walk'?" The man had no idea who it was, since Jesus had disappeared into the crowd that filled the place. After a while, Jesus met him in the temple and said, "Now you are well again. Be sure not to sin any more, or something worse may happen to you." The man went back and told the Jews that it was Jesus who had cured him. It was because he did things like this on the Sabbath that the Jews began to persecute Jesus. This is the gospel of the Lord. In my own reflections on this gospel, there are some striking similarities and some comfort that we can take from this gospel. Firstly, we see at the beginning that there are crowds of sick people. And it's here that we find Jesus. Jesus is among those who are suffering sicknesses of every kind, blind, lame, and paralyzed. And so a point of reflection for us might be that in our time of sickness now, that Jesus is here with us. He is present among us in those who are helping and doing what we can for those who are in need. Jesus encounters a man who has been paralyzed and been there for 38 years. A long time. And it seems like Jesus asks him a strange question. do you want to be well again? Our immediate reaction would be yes. But keeping in mind this man has been there for 38 years, it's become a way of life for him. And so Jesus asks this simple question: do you want to be well? And the man's response comes, yes. And so Jesus cures him. And so again we see Jesus in this role of healer, where we can come with those things that are making us sick, either physically, mentally, spiritually, or emotionally at this time, and we can ask Jesus, the healer, to heal us, just like he healed the man that we see in the gospel. Another point of reflection for us is that the man has been in this condition for 38 years. And in our present circumstances, we've only been in our condition with the coronavirus here for a number of months. So I think we have to bear in mind that there are always others who are worse off than ourselves, and that we should turn our thoughts and prayers to them and just be grateful that we have what we have at this present time. And then finally, you'll see here at the bottom that Jesus does this cure on the Sabbath. And it's the very issue that the Pharisees take up with Jesus, that he's doing this on a holy day. At the moment, we're unable to have or exercise our holy day in the ways that we have traditionally in the past. So we may need to be mindful too of Jesus' actions in this gospel. You are well again. Pick up your mat and walk. So I hope these reflections on today's gospel you can add to your own reflections and prayers. Please be aware that if you need any assistance or help, just ring our number 65831024. And as well, we'd love you to send in your email addresses so that we can keep contact with you and share with you these resources like this one this morning and other ones that we're going to be putting on our website. Our website is stagnesParish.org.au, and we'd love to stay in contact with you and share these resources with you. So please, I encourage you to either ring or send in your email address so that we can keep contact. Thank you for sharing your time this morning spiritually with us. Please be aware too that Father Peter and I celebrate Mass each day here in this little chapel that we have in the presbytery, which is where I'm speaking to you from. And again, we'd ask you to join us spiritually and be mindful that we are keeping you in our thoughts and prayers. Thanks everyone. God bless.